Hello everyone, in this tutorial we'll see how to set up Ansible AWX into Minikube for your local lab testing. First I'll quickly run through this particular setup, then I'll show how to install this into another machine. You can see here I have two machines, one is AWX and another is demo. Here I have already installed, it is running in 49.2.32.163 port number. And if you see the setup here, so this is running Minikube. Here I'm using Docker as the driver for Minikube. You see the resources. I'll execute Docker stats, and here Minikube is taking around 3 GB of RAM. I have assigned 6 GB of RAM for this, and inside this I have all the AWX ports. If you want to see the port list, you can execute kubectl get ports, and here you can see the ports related to AWX. I even have awx-operator. The operator framework allows to manage applications on top of Kube. Essentially, operator helps to build Kubernetes applications easily. We'll see how to set up all this. Then if we execute kubectl get services, you can see this is exposed to 32163 port number and internal port number is 80, and we have 3 services, and Postgres is for database, this is for web service, and this is the operator service. And if I execute Minikube IP is 49.2 and it is local to this particular machine. You can see a bridge interface with 49.1. If I access 49.2 using this particular port number, I'll be able to see the AWX service. And I'm even running Minikube dashboard service here. We'll be able to see all the ports and deployments, then service details here. So I'll explain you how to install and set up all this. Minikube is a lightweight single node Kubernetes cluster that can run in local machine. It is used for local testing and development purposes. It is not recommended to use Minikube in production. Usually setting up a proper Kubernetes cluster involves multiple steps. For example, first we need to set up a master node, then set up worker node and join to the cluster, then set up Kubernetes network. If you don't have enough resources and if you want to do some local testing, you can use Minikube. Later I'll create a video on how to install this into a proper Kubernetes cluster. If you want to see the specification of this particular machine, I'll execute Docker info. This is an Ubuntu machine running in ESXi with 16 GB of RAM, 4 CPUs and 50 GB of hard disk. This particular AWX is running in the same machine, and if you see the utilization, Docker stats, this entire Minikube is taking around 3 GB of memory. Inside that I have AWX running, and I have assigned only 6 GB of RAM for this particular container. So now we'll start setting up the new machine. I'll go to AWX and this is a new machine. First we need to install Docker container. We have documentation available here. Before we install Docker container, I'll show the steps which we need to follow to install AWX. First we need to install Docker container, then install Minikube, then we need to install operator. So operator framework will allow to manage applications on top of Kubernetes. Then here they are using customization. Customization helps to customize Kubernetes resource configuration file. So the steps are going to be very simple. You just need to update file, and after updating, if you run this particular command, kubectl apply -k, in the latest kubectl, customization is coming by default. You just need to create this particular file and execute this command. It will automatically install AWX operator. After installing operator, you need to install AWX server. For that, you just need to add this particular file, and here service type is going to be node port. I'm going to expose the node port. I'm not going to use any ingress service. So later I'll create a video on how to use ingress service. After adding this particular file, you need to execute kubectl apply -k dot. Then we will have AWX up and running. We'll be able to access it using the local IP. Verify here. Now I have only two interfaces, one loopback and the LAN interface. My LAN IP is 0.77, and after that we'll see how to expose this to external. First, I tried exposing this using Nginx reverse proxy. That did not work for AWX web service, so I'm using kubectl port forward. If anyone knows a better solution than this, you can put it in the comment. I will try that as well. Though we are exposing this to LAN, I would suggest to use this only for your local testing and development purposes. If you are going to use this for production, put it into a proper Kubernetes cluster. So first we'll install Docker and go to the documentation. Copy this. First we need to set up the repository. For that, step 1 is update, then install the certificates for Docker installation. I'll paste it here. I'll copy the second step. I will paste it here. So this is adding the GPG key, then this will set up the repository. Then we need to give apt get update. We are going to install latest version, so I'll copy this and install it. Now to give permission to non-root user, here we can copy paste this command. So group add docker. Group is already there by default, is setting up, and see the message here, group already exists. We're just following the document. So here we'll add the user. Now if you want to test whether docker command is working, you can just execute this particular command without sudo. We're getting the permission error. So what we need to do, we need to log off and log on the user. I have logged out and logged in the user. Now I'll run docker run hello world. So this is going to get the hello world latest from Docker Hub and installing. And now if I run, docker ps-a. You can see here I have this hello world container running, so I'll delete that. Docker rm, give the id, and if we check docker images, we have this image. We can even remove the image. Docker rm I and hello world latest. Now if we execute the command docker images, we don't have any image available. So now we'll see how to install Minikube. And Minikube supports all these drivers. We are going to use Docker. And in this particular machine's case, the operating system is Linux, architecture is 64. We are going to use stable. We'll use binary download. I'll copy this. Paste it here. So this is downloading the installation file. Now if we execute Minikube version, you can see here this has installed successfully, and can even execute Minikube help, and Minikube status. So we haven't started. To start Minikube, we can give this command, but in our case we are going to give 6 GB RAM, and we are going to even install one add-on ingress. In future, if you want to expose this using load balancer, we can use ingress. And here I'm giving CPU, 4 number of CPUs and 6 GB of RAM. Now I'll execute this command. By default, this will be picking up the Docker container because it is already available in this machine. So I paste this command. So this will start downloading the images. It will take a couple of minutes. Now Minikube has started successfully. This has taken more than 10 minutes. This downloaded more than 700 MB files, then created Docker container, then configured certificates and RBAC root, then verified all these settings. Based on your internet speed, time will vary. Now you can verify the Minikube status. Docker ps-a, and you can see here Minikube is running. And since this is a single node cluster which is running in Docker, we need to add Minikube space kubectl -- get nodes. And you can see the status here. The node status is ready. And always you need to give this instead of kubectl. What you can do, you can put a alias for this. I'll copy this and paste it here, so that instead of minikube kubectl -- we can give kubectl, the actual production command. Now kubectl get nodes, so we are getting same output. We'll give ports. So now here the default namespace, we don't have any resources. What we'll do, ports -a. So this is getting from all the namespaces. You can see the namespace here. For AWX to run, we'll be creating another namespace. Now we need to install AWX operator. To install AWX operator, we need to create a file called kustomization.yaml. I'll copy this. You can run it from anywhere. I'll create a directory here, dir. And I'll paste the content here, and this is going to get the AWX operator, and the tag for this particular repo is 201. That is the latest currently available. So I'll copy this and paste it here. And here the namespace is going to be AWX. Tag, you can see 2.1.0, and this is going to get the image from kubectl.io AWX operator, and resource files it is going to get from here. And we are going to use customization, and customization helps to customize Kubernetes resource configuration. Let me save this. And in the latest kubectl, by default customization is available, so we can just directly run it using kubectl apply. Now let us just try running the command kubectl apply -k dot, and enter. You can see here AWX operator controller has been created. Now let us verify the details. We have a new namespace AWX, and inside that we have a new container. It is getting created, and instead of port -a, we can even give -n AWX. It is still creating. Here you can see I'm getting an error in image pool. The reason for that is the file which I have used is having an error. I'll update the file. It is 2.0.1. You can see that even in the GitHub page. We'll open that. Here you can see the tag number. I have given correct tag number. We'll try running again. And run the same command again. You can see this has configured the deployment. We'll check the status again. is creating the container. We will execute the command again. You can see the status here is running. The AWX status is running. Now, next step is we need to install AWX. We'll go to the documentation, and here we need to create a file called AWX server, and that file we need to update in the resources list. I'll create a file here. Copy this content. And kind is going to be AWX, and metadata here, this is going to be the deployment name. Here I'm calling awx-server, and I'm going to expose the node port, the IP 49.2, and we'll get a port number. We're going to expose that port to the LAN. And let me save this file, and we'll update even the customization file with this particular data. Enter hyphen space and give the file name. File name is awx hyphen server dot YAML. And here also we can give 3 hyphens. Now we'll try running the same command again. Now we can see here, this has created a new deployment, awx-server. Now, if you want to see the logs of the installation, we can copy this and put it in the terminal. I need to give hyphen. Let me just copy only the command. It is saying this particular name is not found. We need to always give hyphen n awx. So here we will be able to see the complete installation logs. This also would take approximately 10 minutes. And instead of always giving hyphen n awx, what we can do is we can set the default namespace. The command for that is kubectl config set context, and current namespace we will set to awx, so that we don't have to always give hyphen n awx. Once we complete this, we will set that. Now installation is completed. We'll get back to the terminal and set the default namespace as awx. I'll give enter. Now I'll give kubectl get ports, and now here you can see 3 additional ports. AWX server, this is for database, this is for task, and this is for web. And if we give services, here we have a operator controller, and this is AWX server service that is having node port, and port number is 32374. And if you want to get the Minikube IP, and we can see the IP 49.2. I'll copy this with 32374. Let us try to access this. HTTP 49.2 3237. We are getting the login page of AWX, but this won't be accessible from LAN because this particular interface is local to this machine. Previously we were having only two interfaces. Now you can see this has created multiple interfaces. One is for Docker and this is used by Minikube. Now to get the password, either we can get it from CLI, or here I'll open one more terminal and we'll open Minikube dashboard. This will launch browser session to the dashboard, Kubernetes dashboard. Here you can see the message. This is opening in the default browser, and here this has opened the Kubernetes dashboard. Here we'll be able to see the deployments, jobs, ports and all, but here I am into the default namespace. Because of that I'm not able to see anything. If I select AWX, we can see the ports here, ports which are running, and the deployment AWX server and ports. Now we don't have any ingress, and if you see the services, you can see AWX server service and the port number 32374. And if you want, you can have a look into all these configurations. The node port is 32374. Then here in secrets, you can click on this, and from here we can get the password. I'll give the username admin. So now I am able to log into AWX. And same data even you can get it using CLI command. I will add the CLI command here. So here kubectl get secret and the secret name, then JSON path you need to give in this format, base 64 decode. We give this, we'll be getting same password. Either you can get it from CLI, or if you have dashboard access, you can get it from dashboard. Now we'll see how to expose this to LAN. For that we can use this particular command, kubectl port forward. As I mentioned earlier, I tried using Nginx reverse proxy, that did not work, so I'm using this particular approach, kubectl port forward service, and here the name we need to change to AWX server and service. We are going to expose this to 30080, and if you enable ingress, you can directly expose port number 80 to external. That I'll create a video later using ingress. I'll copy this and let me put it here. and press enter. Now I'll go to another machine, and this machine IP is 0.77. I'll go to 78 and try to access the port number 30080. Now I am into the machine 0.78. From here in the browser I'll give 192.168.0.77, port number 30080. I'm getting the login page. I'll give admin and I'll go to AWX, copy the password and paste it. Now I'm able to access from my local area network. I hope this video was helpful for you to understand how to install AWX into Minikube. If you like the video, please subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.